going over the top, while Tontics blank and busy on their wrists, and hope, with furtive eyes and grappling fists, flounders in mud. Oh Jesus, make it stop. That was a vivid description of a physical fear of death and pain. But artists have also used their skills to show the internal, private fears from which everyone suffers at various times in their lives. This painting here on the right is by Francis Bacon, an English artist, and is entitled Study After Velasquez's Portrait of Pope Innocent X. The title is Study After Velasquez's Portrait of Pope Innocent X. And what Bacon does is, if you look at these photographs, he takes a picture of the Pope sitting here in a relaxed position, and he combines it with this horrific picture called The Nurse Screaming, and this is the result he gets with. And then over here, on the right, this painting, also by Bacon, is entitled After My Bridge, Woman Emptying Bowl of Water and Paralytic Child on All Fours. The painting addresses issues that, I believe, many people fear. For example, the woman and child are confined to the circular motion of the framework. They can only continue moving around and around in the circle, and therefore don't have any choice of deciding to go in a different direction. Many people fear this lack of control and the resulting feelings of helplessness. They are confined to the structure of everyday life, and whatever they do, they won't have any impact. They continue to move on and on, yet they continue to move nowhere. Meanwhile, as they move round, they are in constant fear to fall down. Some interpretations of this fall could be death or failure. Also, the container-like feature here at the back was common in many of Bacon's paintings, and it tends to promote a feeling of claustrophobia. Also by Bacon, this next painting is called Painting of George Dyer, Crouching. And the man is claustrophobically enclosed within the circular sofa, supposed to be a sofa, and once again Bacon deals with issues widely feared, such as the narrow field of human freedom. And the man enclosed by the circular sofa portrays what many fear, an image of people as prisoners of circumstance. Now, the picture on the right here is called The Scream, by a Norwegian artist called Edvard Munch. Munch wrote an entry in his diary recalling the scene, quote, "I was out walking with two friends. The sun began to set. Suddenly the sky turned blood red. I paused, feeling exhausted, and leaned on a fence. There was blood and tongues of fire above the blue-black fjord, and the city. My friends walked on, and there I still stood, trembling with fear, and I sensed an endless scream passing through nature." In this painting, we see the fear of man. What adds to the fearfulness of this painting is that the screaming man, whose face is filled with fear, is in a very natural setting. Yet this natural setting doesn't offer any kind of consolation. Instead, it picks up the scream and echoes it into the bloody vaults of hell. Now, from art to real life. Here is a collage of many people's fears come true. Okay. The sad situation that exists in many parts of the world today promotes the myriad of fears within me. I have always considered myself an optimist and hope to remain so. Yet when hearing such tragic stories such as world events such as World War II, and when hearing stories of the present situation in ex-Yugoslavia on the news, I cannot help but sense fear. It is in such situations that I find myself constantly encountering evil. an evil force which I am afraid is an inherent force within all mankind. I want to help those less fortunate than myself, and I want to have hope for a better future for all. Yet I am further fearful of the apathy that always prevents me from taking action on my thoughts, the same apathy that appears to exist in the rest of the world, as countries sit back and watch disaster take place. I dread the image of everyone, including myself, sitting back, totally helpless, unable to make a change in the world. It's these ongoing tragedies that have sculpted my fears for mankind. The eye, in the centre of the collage of magazine clippings, is looking out at the world. The beholder inevitably senses fear for mankind, when attempting to come to terms with the fact that these tragedies are a reality. This photo here is, I believe, the most horrific picture of all. The man here is covered in blood, his face is filled with pain and fear, yet the attacker continues to beat him with a baton. This picture over here represents a universal fear of disease. It's entitled The Silent Bomb. AIDS is breaking out all over the poorest parts of the world. And this fatal disease is spreading rapidly and no sign of a cure seems to be in sight. And another aspect of fear is irrational fears that we know as phobias. Arachnophobia, fear of insects, is represented in this drawing here. Also at the top, I don't know if you can see, there's a picture of a hypodermic needle, which is a phobia that I have. And this picture over here, after you can come forward and see better, includes 6 small photos, and at each 6 stages of a theft taking place, a boy running over to the woman and stealing her bag. And a worldwide crime fears many people, and it's a horrific deal for the unfortunate victims. This picture over here is of trooping soldiers, and it instills so much fear in me because of the coldness of their march. Their uniforms take away each man's individuality and human side, making them look like objects of destruction. Now, if you'd just like to come up and look at the paintings in more detail, ask me questions about anything, I'm just going to play some music. The first thing you'll hear is Meatloaf's Back and Tell. You heard it before a little bit at the beginning. Followed by the Wolf theme from Peter and the Wolf by Sergei Prokofiev. Followed by the Fate theme from Bizet's Carmen. And the scary rhythm and beat of all these musical compositions lead your mind to think about your own personal fears or phobias. Or perhaps the music makes you recall past events which were most frightening. So if you want to come up, I'm just going to...
It's recording. It's recording. Oh, dude.
I'm going to edit it later anyway.
Are you ready?
I have a regular VCR at home. And I cut it in half. It's like taking off of the tape. Play it on the phone.
Not. But to have everyone else, everyone's sitting down now. And it can tape onto something else.
No, I don't think I
I just want you all to remember that the instruments of fear are never hard to find.
Claire, how do you feel about it?
1 sec.
How do you feel about it?
Okay, the music that you hear in the background is Beethoven's Ode to Joy.
To be honest, at first I thought I had chosen an easy emotion, joy. It's even defined in Webster's. To experience great pleasure or delight, to enjoy. Well, as I thought about it, I realized that although joy can be shared by many, it is a unique experience to each person. People react and feel differently about it. Joy can be a surge of adrenaline, a smile of happiness, even the shedding of tears. People can experience it during pleasure and even during pain. Although joy can be expressed in many different ways and felt at different times, I strongly feel that the basic feeling of happiness and excitement, which we all experience during joy, is the same with everyone. This is why we are able to share joyful news with others, because we know that deep down, we're all feeling the same thing. Much of the following, however, presents my own personal view of joy, although as you will see, it is difficult to express. To some people, a joyous person is one who is obviously joyous. A person that perhaps goes around grinning all the time, that perhaps is hyperactive or very chirpy. To some, a person who has every material satisfaction should be joyous. But to me, joy is almost purely an inner feeling. Even if one isn't always smirking or cracking jokes, even the poorest of the poor can experience inner joy, even if just for a moment. Joy comes just as much from having a great time with other people as it does from passing a quiet hour by yourself. Joy is very complicated. One man's joy can just as easily be another man's sorrow. But what is my joy? I should know. I know myself, I think. Although the more I think about joy, the harder it is for me to express. I guess I could just say the following. Joy is one of the most beautiful emotions for me to experience, because it occurs when wonderful things happen. I can be happy for myself or for others. To be a bit more poetic, joy is like a sunny light, or a calm, deep ocean, or a bird high in the sky. It feels like a warmth that has entered my soul, a feeling of pleasure and contentment that tickles me and makes me smile or laugh or cry. I'm happy being with the people that I love. I'm happy looking at nature. I'm happy holding a baby and eating ice cream. These are little outward things that cause people to feel joy. But I also experience joy when I accomplish something, or feel good about myself, or pray to God. I'm happy to think that there are people who love me, and that I'm not alone in the world. I'm happy to think that I was created out of the love of God. Joy and happiness can be expressed in many other ways. Painting, singing, and talking can be outer expressions of joy, as you will see in the presentation. And maybe it will bring you joy, and make you think about it in the future, and decide what joy means to you. But I know that no one can live without joy, which is what makes it one of the most important emotions to experience. Okay. I have some quotes here from sacred writings. I found some sacred writings on joy from the Jewish, Christian, Hindi, and Baha'i religions, and they all reflect some of each religion's view on joy. And I'd like you to notice the similarity of belief in the first three. The first quote is from Hindi writing, sacred writing, and it's from the book of Upanishads, which are speculative elaborations in prose and the verse of the Vedas, which is the most ancient Hindu sacred literature. And their special concern is with the nature of reality. Of fundamental importance to all Hindu thought is the equation of the self with Brahman, which is ultimate reality. Okay, the first quote reads as follows. Joy comes from God. Who could live and could breathe if the joy of Brahman filled not the universe? This is from the Hindi writings. Then from the New Testament, the book of Luke, chapter 15, paragraph 10. Verse 10. Likewise, I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner that repenteth. And the third is from the Baha'i writings. Whoso keepeth the commandments of God shall attain everlasting felicity. In these three quotes, you will notice that these three religions believe that joy comes from God and from service to Him. And then from the Old Testament, the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 13, it says, "Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding." And from the New Testament, the book of John, chapter 16, verse 22, "And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man taketh from you." And the last from the Baha'i writings, "Joy gives us wings. In times of joy, our strength is more vital, our intellect keener, and our understanding less clouded." I'd also like to read some poems concerning joy to you. The first poem is by Lizette Woodworth Reese, and it's called "A Little Song of Life." "Glad that I live am I, that the sky is blue, glad for the country lanes and the fall of dew. After the sun, the rain, after the rain, the sun. This is the way of life till the work be done. All that we need to do, be we low or high, is to see that we grow nearer the sky." And the second one is by Edna St. Vincent Millay. That's called "Afternoon on the Hill." "I will be the gladdest thing under the sun. I will touch 100 flowers and not pick one. I will look at cliffs and clouds with quiet eyes, watch the wind bow down the grass, and watch the grass rise. And when the lights begin to show up from the town, I will mark which must be mine, and then start down." The following paintings project a certain amount of joy to me, and joy can be seen in them, in my opinion, through bright colors or activity or any sort of joyous theme. I hope you can all see. This first one here is a painting of Chinese art. Can you see? And it's by Hu Chi Mao, entitled "Peonies and Butterflies."
Can you turn it around just for a second?
These two here, this one is by Leonardo da Vinci. It's called "The Virgin and Child" with St. Anne and John the Baptist. And you probably can't see it from up close, but they're playing, the Virgin and St. Anne are playing with the two children, John the Baptist and the Baptist, and they're very happy. And then the Mona Lisa, famous Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And I feel that it expresses joy because if you can see, she has a sort of secret smile on her face. And you don't exactly know what the cause of it is, but I think that it reflects some amount of inner joy. Okay, this painting here is by Sir Thomas Lawrence, and it's entitled "The Calmady Children." I'm sure you can all see it. These four paintings are a series of paintings by Francois Boucher, and they're all about seasons. Like this one is summer, spring, autumn, and winter. And they all show like happy activities that lovers engage in during that period of time. This one right here is by Gustave Courbet, and it's called "The Trellis." As you can see, this woman is arranging flowers. She's very happy. This one is called "In the Nursery" by Renoir. This woman here, maybe the mother, is playing with her two children. This one here is more contemporary art. It's by Cornet, and it's called "Blue Summer Closed Blinds." You can see the colors are very bright. And this one is by an unknown American artist, so far as I know, and it's called Fruit in a Wicker Basket. And this one up here is also by an unknown American artist. It's called Baby in a Red Chair. And the last one is this one right here. It's by Mara Aboud, and it's called Three Zebras. Three Zebras. And I'm sure you noticed the brilliance of color in these paintings and the happy themes. And I'm no artist, but I have also made two paintings. One is a sketch, and this is, well, you can tell it's a little girl sitting on a swing. And she's very happy. And then the painting is of flowers in a jug.
You did this?
Yeah. And the way that it projects joy to me is that the colors are very bright, and flowers always make me happy.
And you're no artist.
And I'm no artist. I'm definitely no artist.
There's some difference of opinion about this.
Okay. And now for a little change of pace, Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss wrote many wonderful and creative children's books, which I enjoyed immensely when I was small. This book is entitled Oh the Things You Can Think, and it describes many happy, cheerful little thoughts that a child can indulge in and escape to the world of his or her imagination. The imagination is also a source and stimulant of joy, and I'd like to read it to you. You can think up some birds. That's what you can do. You can think about yellow or think about blue. You can think about red. You can think about pink. You can think up a horse. Oh, the things you can think. Oh, the things you can think up, if only you try. If you try, you can think up a guff going by. And you don't have to stop. You can think about schlop. Schlop, beautiful schlop with a cherry on top. You can think about gloves. You can think about snubs. You can think a long time about snubs and their gloves. You can think about Kitty O'Sullivan Krause in her big balloon swimming pool over her house. Think of black water. Think up a white sky. Think up a boat. Think of blues blowing by. You can think about night. A night in Nanook. The birds are asleep and the 3 moons are up. You can think about day. A day and a date. The water is blue and the birds are awake. Think. You can wonder and think. How much water can 55 elephants drink? You can wonder, how long is the tail of a zong? There are so many things that a thinker can think. Would you dare yank a tooth of the rinker fink? And what would you do if you met a jaboo? Oh, the things you can think. Think of Peter the postman who crosses the ice once every day and on Saturdays twice. Think. You can think anything that you wish. Think a race on a horse on a ball with a fish. Think of light. Think of bright. Think of stairs in the night. Think. Think a ship. Think up a long trip. Go visit the Vipper of Vip. And left. Think of left. And think about theft. Why is it that theft always go to the left? And why is it so many things go to the right? You can think about that until Saturday night. Think of left and think right, and think low and think high. Oh, the thinks you can think, if only you try. Okay. I'd like to invite you all to come up and look at the book and the paintings and things, because I know that you couldn't see very well from afar. And meanwhile,
Is there a record?
Right
corner? Yeah.
is it recording?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, as I said before, that was Shiny Happy People by R.E.M. And I've collected some views and opinions on joy from people, from different people, friends of mine generally around our age, give a few years maybe, from all over the world. And the differences, yet mostly similarity of opinions and feelings on joy are noticeable. I'd like to mention that on this tape, there are a few giggles and rough edges and stuff, but I'm sure we'll get the point. And I asked them to give their...
It's real happiness. And I'm Kerema Ichutu, and I'm from Ethiopia. And I think joy is for me happiness. Happiness for me. Oh my God. My name is Delmarit from Ethiopia. For joy is happiness. Thank you.
My name is Iris Vandenberg from Holland, and my definition for joy is that you feel so happy that you're very close to God.
I'm Sahla Naragi from Argentina, and my definition for joy is happiness.
Hi, I'm Armand Danish from Canada. My definition of joy is a good buffet dinner.
Hi, I'm Jamal Barnes, and my definition of joy is anything or anyone that makes me happy. I don't know.
My name is Rafi. I'm from Greece, and definition of joy is joy.
Hello, I'm Hadar Barnes from Nigeria. My definition for joy is happiness.
I'm Regan Bebahani. I'm from Israel. My definition for joy is happiness.
Bien. From Honduras. For me, joy means alegría in Spanish.
Hi, my name is Ki Hyuk Shin from Korea. What do you mean? I didn't get it. I think pleasure.
My name is Jamala, and I'm from Oregon, United States, and my definition of joy is good friends.
My name is Yas, and I'm from Malawi, and I think joy is something that you can share.
My name is Riaz from Australia, and I think the definition of joy is fulfillment.
Beth, I'm from the United States, and I think joy is doing exactly what you're meant to do.
Hi, I'm Holly from England, and my definition of joy is chocolate ice cream.
My name is Cian from Australia, and joy to me is a feeling of cheerfulness in the bottom of your heart, your mind, and your soul.
My name is Naeem. I'm from Canada. My definition of joy is being satisfied with what you have.
My name is Jared. I'm from Canada, and my definition of joy is doing. Oh, crap.
It's May, and I come from Malawi in Southern Africa, and I think joy is a spiritual state, and it's anybody can be happy and
go. My life goes on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real that hails a new creation. Through all the